I'm just gonna do this quick. So for those who don't know who I am, I'm Ludwig. I'm the channel owner of Little Big Tales, and I'm just gonna try to make this as simple as possible because I think I needed to let this out for everybody to know what is going on with me. I haven't told anybody about the status of me on YouTube or anything, but I just wanna let everybody know what is going on at the moment. So for those who don't know around my social medias or haven't caught around my attention around social media or have plans for about just basically my plans for everything ahead of the future in the UK. So right now, I guess I also tell you the date because I feel like may or may not be important. So today is just past 12:49 a.m. Right now it's technically 20th of July, 2023. So for those who don't know the reason why I'm in the UK right now, I'm supposed to be in Hong Kong, or I came from Hong Kong anyway. I'm here for university. I'm here to study in university basically, and I'm a huge fan of trains. And I have this big tour basically. So the entire tour takes around my initial UK tour anyway, takes around 8 days. From Brighton to York the first day. The second day is me stopping at York to visit the National Rail Museum, which is in York, and I wanted like a full day to visit there. And then the third day will be when I travel up from York to Edinburgh. Potentially stay there for a night because for some reason it takes 6 hours from York to Edinburgh. And then the next day I would travel up from Edinburgh to Inverness, stay there for a day. The fifth day is from Inverness down to Edinburgh, stay in Edinburgh for the rest of the day. And then day 6, day 6 will have me from Edinburgh down all the way to Bristol, change trains there to Cardiff. And then the 7th day would be me traveling from Cardiff to Penzance. And then from Penzance, probably on the same day, I will travel back to London on the Night Rivera, which is a GWR sleeper train basically, in which on day 8, technically I'll be arriving in London and then back to Brighton, or I will just take an intercity train back to London from Penzance the next day, and then still going back to Brighton, and then I will either potentially going back to Hong Kong for visa-related purposes. And the reason why I'm going on this UK tour is to ride on, for those who don't know, is the British Rail Class 43, or famously known as the HST, a high-speed train, to be exact. These are built back in years ago during the BR ages to to combat the air travel basically on the UK railways. However, in 2023 now, they're almost 40 years old, or I think they're even more older now than that. I'm just not too sure. I haven't brought up the entire Wikipedia for this. I don't think that's the entirely purpose. But straight to the point, these Class 43 diesel locomotives have the world record of the fastest diesel locomotive in the world with 148.5 miles per hour. As a adult now, or as a guy who comes from Hong Kong and who likes trains, I will be honored or I'll be just happy that I'll be able to ride on these trains. And in my initial trip that I explained earlier, on which section I plan on taking the Class 43s, which is this specific part is potentially from York to Edinburgh, because apparently CrossCountry does service from York to Edinburgh as well. but the official plan was from Edinburgh I would take, and then from Edinburgh back to Edinburgh via Aberdeen and Inverness is on the ScotRail's HST, the 4 and 5 car versions, because apparently there are 2 versions running on different routes. To Aberdeen first, because I want to ride across the Forth Bridge, one of the biggest bridge in the UK or in the world. I think it's a big suspension bridge. You just look that up if you don't know what HST or any of the things I said, or like Forth Rail Bridge. Look it up on Wiki. They could give all the answers you needed to basically follow up to what I'm saying. And then, so after going to Aberdeen, I would take a short trip to Inverness and then end the day there. And that route between Edinburgh to Aberdeen is where 4-car HST are. I honestly did not plan about this. I only just wanted to go on the Forth Bridge. And then from Inverness is where the main trips really starts. From Inverness down to Edinburgh is where ScotRail's 5-car HSTs runs on, and it's as long as I'm gonna get. Just letting you know. I will further explain why later on in the video. And then after I go down to Edinburgh, I will stay for a day, because the next trip I'll be going on Edinburgh to Bristol and then technically Cardiff on what's that ScotRail? It is on CrossCountry's HST, which I believe they are as recent weeks came from. I've checked and they have like different formation and concepts. I don't know, some of them are 7 cars, some of them are 8 cars, but it's definitely longer than 4 or 5 carriages. And ScotRail and CrossCountry HSTs are one of the ones that still runs their HST at 125 miles per hour, which is the standard speed for intercity trains. But back to what I was saying, the trip from Edinburgh to Bristol and additionally Cardiff takes more than around 6 hours or so. So I would need almost an entirely full day for me to get from point A to point B basically on them. And then from Cardiff, it also takes another around 5 to 6 hours or so on Great Western Railways or GWR's Castleset HSTs. From Cardiff all the way down to Penzance. And although sadly they don't run on 125, I think the max speed is around 110 miles per hour. I mean, at least I'm still on an HST, and it's green, and I like green, and that's really the reason why I have to get on there. Not only because I'm gonna ride on all 3 companies as HST and only remaining HST as of now. I know that there are also different preserved HSTs, such as the 125 group, which is a group basically super specifically preserved not specifically some Mark 3 carriages, specifically preserving HSTs. And along with Mark 3 carriages, which is the carriages that HST pull as a diesel multiple unit when they couple together on each end. But I don't know, do they technically count as DMUs? I'm not too sure, but I'll leave it up to you to figure that out. But yeah, that was the original plan. I wasted 10 minutes to explain that. But shit happened is that screw it, I don't care what I'm gonna say. But basically, shit happened. Basically, is that in my dorm accommodation right now, which is where I'm living right now, is called Holden Court. Now, to my own knowledge, because I don't have much knowledge about the entire payment process of that is done, because that's mostly done by my parent. They suddenly just because originally it was supposed to be 3 installments, which is basically which I assume anyway is like you pay the rent for the dorm for like yearly. So in the end I'll pay in full once I'm done with university here probably. But now they said no, you can't do that. you have to pay in full now. Basically, you have to pay for the entire length of however or how long ever you're gonna live here, in which I believe that is essentially the same cost as around my initial trip, which it's not the exact amount, but I do know that is gonna be probably more than 500 to 1,000 pounds. And for those who are not familiar with currency exchanging for Hong Kong, that's around 5,000 Hong Kong dollars to around 10,000 Hong Kong dollars, which is something as a Hong Konger, I can't even afford. Not let alone my parents either, because with that money you can technically even afford an apartment in Hong Kong, which for those who know, or for those who don't know, Hong Kong is infamous for its very expensive cost of living. And I think that's the similar case with other countries as well, but I'm not going to get ahead of myself, or since I'm not really familiar with that ground, I'm not going to explain it. But yeah, because of that, I have talked with my parents for a few days because of this, and it has come to the conclusion that yeah, either the trip isn't gonna happen, or I have to just cut the journey short, just to be able to visit the National Rail Museum and come back to Brighton. Which honestly just pains me to say this, because again, for those who don't know, the Department of Transport, or the DFT, ordered CrossCountry and Great Western Railways to and just tell them to retire their HSTs. I believe is potentially because of their old age, or DFT just being an absolute piece of shit, because not because that I can't write on them and that they're retiring this year in 2023, is because that I'm pissed is because of that. I have heard on Twitter seeing that a lot of these trains, or the routes the HST runs on, is pretty overcrowded, or let alone I think more like the fleet size of CrossCountry and GWR, they don't have trains to replace them, because DFT doesn't allow leaser companies to buy trains and then let railway companies use them on services to replace what the HST was supposed to run on. But I think the best example would have been CrossCountry services on their Voyager or Class 220 or Class 221 units, with them having an absolute big issue to deal with overcrowding on their services, because essentially they only have 4 or 5 cars. I don't know why, whatever. But yeah, you get the idea here. 5 or 4 cars isn't really a good idea to run on long routes, basically. So the HST are definitely needed. GWR's HST I definitely understand, because they have been serving again for almost 40 years. However, I just don't understand what the CrossCountry's decision on retiring their HSTs, because they only got their refurbishments like years ago, and not only like more than 20 or 30 years ago, they only like 10 or probably less years ago that they got their refurbishment, and then only now they retired them, which is definitely a waste for sure. So far, I don't think I have heard ScotRail retiring their HST, so it's not all that bad, but the problem is the cost of even said travel. I only explained my plan for the travel. I haven't even explained much of the details most of the time, because in technically 8 days, I need 7 nights of living in a hotel, which according to what I found on Google a few days ago, apart from the hotels in Edinburgh, which cost around 3-digit pounds, most of them, for one night anyway, costs around only 2-digit pounds. The cheapest I can find is around 60 or so, or supposed to be anyway. but because of the tickets, that just get even like buying tickets to getting in between the set locations I've talked about, it's a high cost that I don't even think UK people who live in the UK can even afford this, because I know the whole strike going on, but I'm not too sure. I'm just assuming here at this point. So, and yeah, not that money can kind of come through. So my parents did say to call off the journey or the trip because of the high cost, which I definitely understand, because now the money have to be fully focused on the full payment, which like I'm not gonna fully focus on the dorms, because this is definitely not this is like not fully related to the problem basically. But what most pisses me off is that my parents just don't believe me that I can like handle myself within those 8 days, which like I am 19 now, and my initial plan was, because within 8 days I would definitely have to carry a luggage, but what I have seen other people did anyway. I think the best example would be a YouTuber called Simon Wilson. He's a great YouTuber. He has such good content traveling around the world, and he's just traveling around like different part of the countries or different part of the world with just a backpack, with no luggage with no luggage, just with him, like a big huge like luggage case. It's just a backpack with him. My initial plan was that, but I just underestimated it. But because of the but yeah, my parents just worried to hell that either I will miss the train, and then I won't be able to go to the next location, and then everything just fucks up, and now I don't know where to go, or just isn't up, like the plan is just goes to ruin like midway or just part way, which then leaves me potentially stranded in one of these locations with no money to be able to come back to Brighton to be able to continue my studies, which definitely heavily affects my grades there. But yeah, the plan, the original plan I mentioned, I have heavily calculated around like what specific train to ride on, and I'm willing to risk not riding any sort of train in like past 6 p.m. also after like one single big journey. So like journeys such as Edinburgh to Bristol or Cardiff to Penzance, both of which takes 6 hours or so, which is a good example, because if I say ride them in the middle of the night, it will be very terrible, because I won't be able to see anything outside. Not only that, there's potential but my parents think what always happens or mostly happens in the UK is theft of stealing stuff. So potentially, if I do bring my iPad or my phone here, or any valuable item that got stolen, I will cry the bittens. And yeah, of course, that's like the least desirable thing to happen on a trip anyway. So in a short sentence, in a short way of saying this, my parents just don't believe me that I can like keep my stuff intact, or just I wouldn't come back in one piece, basically. I don't know, are they over worrying that I don't have the ability to do this? But while understandable, I'm disappointed that they don't have anything that could believe in me, because ever since back in Hong Kong, I have been in situations that I'm almost stranded at certain locations that just away from home, basically. So I think one of the better examples is during the last day of the old platforms at Hong Kong Station. Watch that video if you haven't noticed. I also explained that situation. I missed my last train back home, and I was almost stranded there until I found out that there is a bus route that goes through Hong Kong station. So in the end, I was still able to get back, but with so much research in planning which specific train I need to take, I have even backups, and they're automatically backups because the train I'm planning on taking anyway do have another train after that. So I still have some back ways to go from point A to point B without any issue. It's just the timing is a bit off. But apart from that, they just don't believe me that I can handle myself within outside of the familiar territory, which that is already a risk by me coming into the UK for university studies, because in Hong Kong my grades suck, sadly. But either just my parents just thinks that I'm overthinking about my passion for trains, or they just don't respect my passion for trains as of now. I'm not too sure, is it because of family situations? Don't worry, my family situation is completely fine at the moment, just that it will be a huge risk if I do that. So although cost-wise it's understandable why this shouldn't be done, but my most disappointing is that they don't believe me that I can come back in one piece. I think that's what I'm gonna try to bring up actually here. And what doesn't really help is the location I'm living in. If we're in Brighton, Holden Court is a good location to get around Brighton. I am gonna say that. I'm gonna give props for that. But if we're talking about the entire UK here, Brighton is the most, not really the most south, but just very south of locations such as Edinburgh, and it's also a very far location to Penzance, which is where GWR operates the HST, and also where ScotRail and CrossCountry operates the HST from and to Edinburgh. So if I have been living in London instead of Brighton, then maybe situations could have been at a better terms, but here I am in Brighton, so it's not like there's anything I can change. In the end, I still have to complete my course in university, which it's been fun, honestly. It's been really fun. In all honesty, I honestly just like the course I've been on. It's an absolute blast, but it's also a blast for me to be able to, I guess, go on with my passion for trains, I guess. But yeah, and I guess I already forgot that I mentioned this before, but yeah, I did, because yeah, the entire thing for the HST retirements, I don't think I've told you the dates for them. Yeah, they are gonna retire in this year. CrossCountry says HST will retire, I believe, in October 2023. GWR retires their HST on December of 2023, which then leaves the last operator of the HST would be ScotRail, which is all the way up in Edinburgh, which is not even close to Bristol, which apparently I checked the map. Bristol is a bit closer to Brighton, which is where CrossCountry and GWR HST operates to and from. But I mean, I guess I could at least go to Bristol just to train spot there, just to give them a few glances, but I don't think I will be able to ride on them ever. I don't think I'll ever have the chance. Unless I can go even more nuts by traveling on the Bull Pullman HST, which is definitely not desirable. And that other private charter HST, I'm not too sure. I don't think it ever has a name, but yeah. Or I'll just go with the lower way by riding. I will try to find a way to think where the 125 group have their preserved HST running at. But yeah, in this situation at the moment, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do my plan, nor am I gonna be able to experience that legendary train that is the Class 43. But hence I'm making this video to explain why shit has happened in the title over there, or just here. So yeah, now you understand my position here, I hope. There are friends that did recommend me to like set up a GoFundMe page so that the trip is still somewhat possible with a few potential cuts in there. So such as my own like immediate planning. Where the plans I'm about to mention is like not really fully planned it yet. So basically, from Brighton to Gatwick, taking an easy jet to Inverness, and then from down there, the trip goes from Inverness, Edinburgh, stay a day there, Edinburgh, going to Cardiff or Bristol, stay a day there, and then going to Penzance, take a night train back to London, and then back to Brighton. Which I believe takes around, I assume when I get to Inverness, I'm not too sure, 1, and then Edinburgh 2, and then technically 3 nights for 4 days of travel all around. So that technically cuts off 4 days of travel from the initial plan, because I technically just skipped York because I was hoping to visit the National Rail Museum when I was getting from London to Edinburgh. And it's completely screwed us Forth Rail Bridge, because the Forth Rail Bridge won't be moving anytime soon, definitely, because it's a bloody bridge. What do you expect? And also the National Railway Museum, hence why I'm not visiting those locations and put my priority fully on the HST. But of course that isn't gonna happen because I am broke. And because of this, I don't think I would want to return to Hong Kong like ever now. Although understandably the reasons with my parents explained why they couldn't afford the trip, for me anyway, now I just kinda hate them for not believing me. It's just a pain in the stab in the back. But I guess I'll do what's best for the best, I guess. Like, I definitely won't give in on the entire trip, or at least minimum riding on the HSTs. ScotRail still operating them. I think they're gonna operate them for like a few years to come, until until the Department of Transport wanting to fuck it up again. But I think my best shot would have been at Bristol at the moment, now that I think about it, just on the GWR HST. Although not 125, it's still an HST again. So I honestly don't know. So if by the time I uploaded this, if there's a GoFundMe page, if there's ever a GoFundMe page that if you guys can actually support me, that would be absolutely brilliant. Because again, I really want to do this trip. I wanted to call this trip as well. But if I'm ever gonna set up a GoFundMe page, I'll put a link in the description below. Please, I am not forcing anybody to help support this trip, but if you have the money to support this trip, at least, thank you. If there's ever a GoFundMe page and you have donated for however many pounds, I don't care the amount, thank you. I honestly appreciate, but yeah, I honestly just appreciate. It's definitely appreciated of you to donate your money onto me. But with me only having 1,150 subscribers, I just don't think this is a big possibility that's gonna happen. Because right now it's July, the 20th of July. August is coming up, which is when my foundation year is ending, and having a midterm break between foundation year and year 1, which is basically where my course is continuing to go. And because I don't know how difficult or what challenge awaits me in year 1, year 2, year 3 in university, and that's why I want to just do the entire trip in August between foundation year and year 1. I want to do everything in the blast in one go, and after that I'm fully focusing on university studies and stuff. Don't worry, if I will try my best to put videos out at least. I'm still working on the CrossCountry videos as of late. Burnout, there's nothing we can help, so I guess that's all. Unless there's a miracle that happens that I would have the chance to take an HST, then, but I don't think that miracle is gonna ever happen, honestly. Just miracles are still miracles. It's not 100% guaranteed. There's no chance that it will actually, there's no guaranteed chance that it's gonna appear. Miracle is suddenly appearing what's good for you anyway, in your objective, I guess. But that's all the situation that is on me at the moment. I will still edit my CrossCountry video and continue my university work, but I just don't think I would want to head. I just don't think I would want to head back to Hong Kong more, because of, from the currency wise, I have absolutely had enough, to the politics, which I'm not gonna mention here in this video, because it either the Chinese government will shut me down, or just it's a completely different video entirely that I don't think it's fitting to put on my channel. So, and apart from Hong Kong's trains, I think I'm done. I'm honestly just done with Hong Kong. If things happen that from foundation to year 3 after that, my parents did say that they allow me to do that, but by the time that happens, I would assume that the HST is all gonna be gone from existence from here, like on like normal railway operation, I mean. So I might consider getting might try and consider getting a train driver job in the UK, so that I could afford my own trip without my parents just holding me back. But after I get a job, I'm not too sure can I keep up with my YouTube work, which hopefully I would be able to still, but it's just too far from the future to be able to confirm things. So that's initially just happened. So thank you for listening to me for 33 minutes. If I do have anything else I want to add that it wasn't included, or I forgot to include it in this video, I will put them in the description or in the pinned comment down below, so you can read it if you have your own spare time. Then again, you don't have to force yourself to read it, but again, your choice. And your choice, whether or not, if there's ever a GoFundMe page in the description below or in the pinned comment, then feel free to rather donate, or you can just ignore my initial request. So I'm gonna upload this to YouTube and then be on with my night. So Dodo Tells Ludwig signing out. Peace out and bye bye.